Hello there, welcome to the Bench Podcast for episode number 9. This episode is about some wonder kids in football in previous years that haven't maybe lived up to potential. To discuss this, on my right, I have Mr. George Bennett.
You're right, guys, I'm back.
And to my left, I have the one and only Mr. Ethan Cunnison with his brand new Manchester United shirt on.
It's terrible.
I mean, I'm a Man United fan, I'm not a big fan of it, but fair enough. But yeah, so this episode then is going to consist of a nice topic we actually thought of over the recent weeks.
I thought of it.
George obviously takes the claim to
obviously, because at the moment there's not a lot of football going on, so we need to be bringing out the content.
We need some topics. You guys can help with the topics as well. Remember, you put in the comments with any potential ideas you might have to get us through this hard time. And obviously this one will be about wonder kids, failed wonder kids. So hope you guys will enjoy that one.
Yeah. So we're each going to name 3 wonder kids that we think have the potential over the years and haven't reached the lights of what we expected them to.
The high standards that
high
everyone
standards,
thought,
yeah, probably a better way to say it. But yeah, I mean, obviously it'd be interesting to see if you can name some in your comment section and what you think of, if any of them got the same as us. But to start with, I'm going to have Ethan to go with first. So can you name your 3 wonder kids and why you think they have failed?
So my 3 are Ravel Morrison.
I think you'd say him.
Ex-Man United youngster. Everyone thought he was going to be the next big thing. He was in the big team of Jesse Lingard, Paul Pogba, that famous 2010-11 side.
I mean, basically none of them have really made it, have they?
Okay.
Pogba's to be fair.
But wasn't that famous United FA Youth Cup win? Everyone thought it was the next class of 92 at the time. Big team in United culture.
I remember. I think there was an interview with Fergie. He said I think he's one of the most talented teenagers he's ever seen play, which obviously says a lot. He obviously had something about him, but ultimately, I think he was involved with some gangs and stuff like that.
He didn't have the best background.
Childhood, yeah.
And sometimes the background can lift you up in football, and makes you just not want to be a part of it and use football as
distraction.
Yeah, exactly, to get you out.
Like Paul Gascoigne's an example of that. He had quite a tough childhood, and then obviously became the player he became. But obviously Morrison was the opposite of that.
And,
really.
And it is a shame that it did happen. I think he's with Sheffield United at the moment. So
actually, I think he might have left. I don't know. You can. You can go. Keep talking about. Yeah. You keep talking about him for a bit. I'll
carry on with my other 2. Another failed wonder kid. I'm gonna say. Ooh, it's hard. I'll go with my one I do know. It's going to be a big one. I'm going to go with Neymar.
Neymar?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I don't think he's a foul wonder. He's won basically everything he can win in club football. Except,
when I look at Neymar, I look at a player when he was at Santos. Everyone's saying he was going to be the next Brazil, the next Pele, the next R9, the next
basically any Brazilian attacker of all time.
And he was to Barcelona. He was the third fiddle in Barcelona's attack. I know
MSN, yeah.
And everyone looks at MSN, the best striking partnership in all time.
Possibly of all time, definitely in this century for sure.
But you know what? In that front three, obviously got Messi, one of the best footballers in our generation. Got Suarez,
but I'd say the best striker of our generation.
I'd say one of the best strikers in our generation.
Top 5.
Oh yeah, I'd agree, top 5. And then you had Neymar. Neymar, his goal contribution that season, it was high.
Which season?
The one when they won the Champions League against Juve. Yeah. They did get a lot of goals. I think they got over 100 goals between that front three. But the reason why he left Barcelona, he didn't want to be Leo Messi's shadow.
He wanted to be the main man.
And he's gone to PSG now, and now he wants to go back to Barcelona. And
he's Barcelona around. I think Real Madrid. He wanted to go to. He wanted to try and get in there.
And he's coming to 28 now, and
is he old?
I think Neymar's getting on.
Time has gone quick. I remember Neymar.
Well, I'm sure he's 28, 27.
I remember Neymar was just joined Barca, to be fair.
And was 28. And
Jesus.
people thought he would have probably won 5 Ballon d'Ors by now, but
he's not winning none. And in some ways, Mbappe could beat him in that regard. I mean, he's won a World Cup. He's done something that Neymar probably won't.
Will never do.
He possibly won't. I mean, it's early days. Who knows?
And Bennett's famous catchphrase, early days.
Oh yes, let's come back.
And my last failed youngster. This is going really back now.
Okay.
Do you lads know Michael Johnson of Man City?
Yeah, he was labelled as the next one of the people to be labelled the next Steven Gerrard, wasn't he?
I don't remember clearly because I was obviously young at the time.
I've heard that, but
I think it was around the 08-09 season when he broke through at City.
I think it was just before City had all that money.
Yeah, and he was going to be their next star. He was going to be the player that was going to be there.
General, yeah.
Be there through their like cycle of being
dominant. All
from
the money coming
back
in.
where Man City were to where they are now. He was going to be that player that was going to be like their Paul Scholes, their Giggs, their Gerrard, their Lampard.
He's kind of like how Phil Foden is now.
Exactly.
But obviously, Foden seems to be making sure of his potential. Well, it's early days. Potential for him. He's pretty close to reaching his potential than Johnson.
Exactly. And Johnson, I think he had some mental health issues. He couldn't live up to the limelight of football, and
I think
he did put on a lot of weight.
Wasn't he homeless for a bit?
I don't know the basis of it, but he didn't really live up to.
Yeah, he dropped off the map quite quick once that happened, and I mean, I don't know. That's good. It's very interesting. I have to agree with that. To be fair, right. I'm guessing is it me? Oh,
I'll go next.
Okay.
So obviously, basically in this one, I think obviously I've had a quick look. My first one's going to be probably one where quite a few of you probably know. I'm going to go with Adnan Januzaj.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah. Interesting.
I remember under that season under Moyes, us three, we used to always have arguments at school about whether Januzaj or Sterling was better. I actually remember it.
Sterling was better.
I remember that season so clearly. Like,
I know it was a bad season, but he was like a spark.
He was your bright light in that Moyes era.
But literally, after that season, he was just not to be found, and it's really a shame. But
I think, obviously, me and King United fans, and I know for certain that everyone thought he had the potential of being the next Ryan Giggs, but he's one of those players that had all the talent in the world, but he just didn't have that work rate, and in training he was very lazy, and he didn't want to improve as a player, and that's why it didn't really work out in the end. I
remember back in the day when he was a name coming through. I remember because he hadn't chosen his nationality for who he wanted to mention yet, and like. There's like England knocking on the door because he could have represented England. There's Belgium, I think Albania was another one.
Yeah.
He had the pick of 3 nations to play his international football with. That was how like highly regarded he was at the time.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, we were about Sterling and Januzaj, who was better. Obviously, it shows that Sterling obviously.
And there's a lot of comparisons between, if you're going to compare it to like Januzaj that season under Moyes, and like Rashford when he first came through. Both of them very like, but with Januzaj. Throughout the academy system, he was like highly regarded at United. Everyone was like, "Yeah, this kid." He was doing well in the under 23s, under 18s. He was brilliant. Then he made it to the first team where he should have been, and that season did perform, but he did go well. But if you're going to compare him to Rashford didn't. He only played under 18s football and went straight to first team football.
Yeah.
He didn't play. He hardly played any minutes under 21s.
I remember after he's like, look, he went on a few loan deals, didn't he? After that, he went to Dortmund, he went to Sunderland, and he got them. Well, they were relegated while he was there. I think isn't he at Sociedad now in Spain?
Yeah. He's doing okay, but
obviously not
compared to
the level of what
he
is. Yeah,
So
it's a good show to be fair.
My second one is going to be Max Meyer, the player that used to play for Schalke.
He's at Palace now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's at Palace. But I think obviously we've heard about him a few years because obviously we know a lot of these players, which is obviously because I know George and Ethan, big Football Manager fans. Obviously, I'm not.
Yeah, boy.
I'm not. Obviously, don't play that. I'm mainly into FIFA, but obviously FIFA is also good for showing young players as well.
Unearthing wonderkids.
Well,
potential wonderkids.
I know he hasn't lived up to what people thought he was going to be, because everyone was going to be next like Bastian Schweinsteiger.
Oh yeah.
He is only 24.
Yeah, that's still past his peak, though, isn't it? For me,
no,
okay, he's not past.
He's still got time.
He's still got time, yeah.
For a lot of players, that like the peak, he's like 26, 27.
Sorry, I'll reword that. He has passed maybe like his young career.
Yeah. Well, he's not a young player anymore.
However, I think, although I do think he has not lived up to expectations. I think if he was under a coach like maybe Guardiola, Klopp, someone that could really bring the best out of players, I think he could succeed. Because I mean, ultimately at Palace. Like, I mean, he's played 30 matches this season. He's got no goals or assists.
That's not great.
You know,
I think he's still got time. Like, I think next season, if he had that a great season, like he was banging double figures in goals and assists, then he went to like a Spurs, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
He's sort of like isn't he sort of like a deep line like playmaker? Yeah, that's a football manager term for everyone who doesn't know.
Some players, you get it maybe like 24, 25. They can have a season. And then they can maybe go to a bigger team under better man and develop. So he has got a bit of time, but I think ultimately, it is one there. I'm going to put that he hasn't lived up to expectations.
He's got a lot of work to catch up on the potential that he was given at the start of his career.
That's the one I definitely picked up because I don't think he even fully plays. He's not even playing every week for Palace. No. He's like a bench occasionally plays. So obviously for a player that, I mean, you'd think obviously at Schalke, if you were shining at Schalke, which, obviously he seemed he was, and then obviously it kind of went downhill. You think maybe like Bayern would go for him.
That's the next step in Germany. That a lot of them just end
Dortmund,
up with Bayern,
or even one of the big teams in Europe. But like, it's a shame. But obviously, hopefully he might become the next season. You never know, he might be good.
Yeah.
And my third choice is going to be a player we know quite well.
I forgot. I've seen who it is.
Lazar Markovic, former Liverpool player, or is he still under Liverpool's books? I don't know.
He went to Fulham on a free, and I think I think Fulham let him go after that. I could double check.
But,
by the way, Ethan Ravel Morrison is actually on loan at Middlesbrough.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, go on.
Obviously, a player back 4 or 5 years ago. So I think it was a season after the Yanazai and all that. A player. Who could have had the potential. I think we saw him play a few times.
Was it Benfica?
Yeah.
Well, we signed him from Benfica for I think about 20 million. We bought him from at the time before the prices started to go up in football. That was a lot of money for an unproven winger. He had one really full season at Liverpool. Brendan Rodgers at the time, he was trying to experiment with tactics because obviously we had a lack of strikers at that point. Obviously because Suarez had gone. Sturridge was injured and
a poor team really.
Yeah, and then I think he tried to experiment with like Raheem Sterling and then Markovic as like a wing back type thing to add a bit more width out wide, and he couldn't really hack it in the Premier League, and he couldn't deal with it really.
I look at him, I never remember him being highly rated. Like, I remember back then it was like
he had good potential.
I remember at the time Chelsea were after him as well. But
I remember like back then it was about Sterling. Like Jordan Ibe was at Liverpool back then.
That's but like with that one, I think Markovic is one of those like in the quiet, in the footsteps, but could have come out and really made a name for himself. Yeah. But he didn't. So
I think then there's the meme where we tried to get rid of him for that long. And he's only last season where we finally got rid of him. Yeah. I mean, he went to Fulham on a free, but
nothing.
I think now he's in
Partizan,
he's back where he started his career. I think. So.
I think it's going to be difficult for him to get anywhere for there. But I mean, it's a shame, but obviously it's the way it is.
I think I remember him scoring at Sunderland. He was quite a decent goal actually. I think he's quite. I remember because we were in that awful yellow kit. He's like a shit yellow kit we had. He was awful.
Screamer.
We've had a lot of those players.
I can remember that goal. Yeah.
I mean, there's a few on the list that I could have put in there. I could have put Victor Fischer, who used to play for Ajax.
He was highly rated at Ajax. I remember.
Hakim Mastura.
Yeah. He was
he used to play for Milan.
He's like FIFA terms here.
But yeah, good old FIFA. Never really heard of him, to be honest.
Luca Piazon.
That was a really good one. I mean, he had a really good,
At the end of the day, every Brazilian youngster is highly rated. Like,
and also,
I
think another player here, actually quite a good one that could have been on the list for me, Renato Sanchez. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, he still actually has potential maybe to come on better play because only a few years ago, so he's not too old. He's a bit like.
You know what?
Is he at Lille now?
Yeah, he's at Lille now.
Lille
I
in
think
France.
the worst decision he made
Go to Bayern.
was I think he should have went to United that season.
Go to Swansea on loan.
I remember we watched him and he got
that was,
injured.
we went towards an FA Cup match.
He was poor, wasn't he?
Yeah. I think if he went to United that season when Mourinho was coach, I think he would have been his trajectory would have still
could have rose.
Yeah.
No, it's ifs and buts, isn't it? Really. I mean, the only way you can really see if that works is Football Manager or FIFA.
And you know what? With Lille, I think he's at a good club for him to restart his career back.
Yeah, they've got a few decent players, haven't they?
Oh, just thought of a player that should have been on this list for me. Ryan Gould.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
What a Dundee United youth player.
Right.
It also was like the Scottish Messi.
Got a big move to Sporting Lisbon.
Yeah.
I don't think he played a game for.
Mate, he played when Fernandes was there.
Yeah.
FIFA 16, FIFA 17.
I think he went back to it. I think he went back to it.
He's still there at Sporting.
No, I think he's gone to some lower league Portuguese team now.
Mate, he was like so hyped up. Literally, FIFA 16,
I remember it, yeah. 16,
17, I'd always try and sign him.
Yeah, I remember. He had a high potential.
He's good in Portugal.
Was it?
He's 24 now.
Firenze in the second division of Portugal. Wow, he's dropped down quite a bit. But no, they're good shouts, to be fair.
But anyway, time for George to say he's free.
Well, there's one that I think. I remember. This he's to have Liverpool, and I'm not going to lie now. I was so hyped when we signed him. I was thinking, is Mario Balotelli, and honestly, I was so let down. I mean, everyone knows the story of what Balotelli's like. Ultimately, he was a maverick. Obviously, a player who. I mean, I'm talking like he doesn't play anymore. He still does. I think he's in
Italy now.
Brescia, his hometown team, Brescia. I think they're in the relegation zone. But he started at Inter Milan. He started out as a promising striker.
29 now.
That's gone quick as well.
If you can look at his record, he started at
Lemenzia.
He went to Inter Milan to Mourinho.
Well, to be fair,
and Mourinho couldn't tame him. No. Obviously, it's a common theme. Obviously, Mourinho now, obviously, but in some ways he might have had a point with Balotelli. He didn't seem to really want to be there.
20 goals.
To be fair, 2010 to 2010, he got 20 goals for Inter Milan, 20 goals for City, 26 for AC Milan. He got 1 for Liverpool.
I think he had more in cup games, but Man City was probably where he played his best. No, actually, City was probably where he played his best football. There's obviously some iconic. Obviously, the goal against United, where he tore off his shirt, the "Why Always Me" thing. But it was always there was always some controversial topic alongside him, like the fireworks in his bathroom, the prison thing where he went to women's prison to check it out.
He's a bit of a mental case.
Yeah, he's not all there, I don't think. And then I don't think his agents helped him either. No. Is it Mino Raiola, isn't it still?
Yeah, there you go.
And then obviously Liverpool.
Another mental case.
Liverpool, as I say, we got to. I was excited. It was just uneventful. I remember he scored against Tottenham. He came off the bench. That was a nice moment for it. I can remember that quite vividly. And then there's the Europa League penalty where I think Henderson. I think Henderson. It was one of Henderson's first time as a captain because obviously Gerrard's on his way out by that point.
Yeah.
And I think he tried to get Sturridge to take the penalty, but Balotelli said no, I'm taking it. And Henderson tried to say no, you can't have it, but he wouldn't have it. And obviously he took the penalty off him, but he scored, and then we still got knocked out of the Europa League that season. So I mean,
story Liverpool's life.
I mean, thanks for that. I mean,
wow.
Ultimately, there's times at Italy as well where I think it was Euro 2012. That was that was a time where he could have shined and shown where
he should have went from that and went up as a player.
I think for me, he could have been Italy's version of R9 for me.
Oh yeah, he definitely had the potential.
So he's close to getting it. But
so who's your second player?
The second player, I'd say Jack Rodwell. It was an interesting one.
Very interesting.
Another one of the Gerrard potential players. Because I've got to admit, I I'd say when I started watching football, I'd say 2007, and but I'd say at that point, Everton, I'd say one thing they had over Liverpool was the youth development. I'd say the youth development was slightly better than ours at the time because we were just signing a load of players. Well, they obviously didn't have that much money at the time, and they had to bring youth players up, and obviously one of them was Jack Rodwell, and obviously
at Sheffield United right now, but he's obviously
he's had a strange career.
Is it Sheffield United?
Yeah.
Does he play?
No.
Where does he play then?
The signing from Blackburn, I think.
Oh, he's at Sunderland.
No.
That's one of the issues because obviously he was at Everton. He had a promising start.
It's City. That's the worst thing you did.
They signed him. I think Mancini was there at the time, wasn't he? They had they signed Rodwell and I think Scott Sinclair to hold up the English quota because I think that's when they started to really like clamp down on like you have to have English players in your squads basically. There's that to be a limit on how many like foreign players you could have. And he was one of the players I think they signed based on that. And he never settled at City. He couldn't get a game, could he? I mean, you have David Silva, Yaya Toure. You ain't going to get past them, are you, really? Unless you're exceptional.
You couldn't get a touch.
And then ultimately went to Sunderland and...
He had a lot of problems with injuries. Jack Rodwell.
That was another thing as well, yeah. Injuries seem to affect him quite a bit.
Footballers.
But I think that kind of eroded away. Like all the respect that people put out for Rodwell went when
Ross Barkley came in, and then Tom Davies now.
And when he went to Sunderland, obviously he was still there when they went to League One, and he had the option to leave to go and like obviously play more regular football, but he decided to stay on his 70,000 a week contract, and they're still in League One.
Yeah,
that ruined his reputation. I think maybe. Yeah.
So who's your third player then?
Oh, third player, right? Well. It's hard because I drew up a list basically at the start of this, and I had a couple. I think Ryan Babel was one of them.
Okay.
I think Robinho was another one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go Robinho.
Wait, he's done all right though.
I think he'd been better.
He's so much player like a Neymar that I remember was at Real Madrid and he was supposed to be the next.
He played alongside R9 Ronaldo at that time, and that was
one
of the best players to learn alongside, yeah. And then
went to City.
That was City's the first big signing that they ever made in that.
Be on the back of a school wall.
Yeah, and
remember that?
And then there's the ultimate thing where, like in his first press conference, he goes, "Oh, I'm happy to sign for Chelsea because Chelsea are in for him as well." And
he did say that.
He did, yeah. And I don't think that didn't really endear him too much to City fans. And then, I mean, looking at his record, his Madrid record's fairly. What do you think he's Madrid? I don't know.
Well, he got Santos. He got 47 goals at 180 appearances.
That's Brazil. Good, that's when they start well.
Madrid.
That's Brazil.
Basically, after he left Santos, downhill. 35 goals for Madrid, 14 for City.
No, but whilst he was at Real Madrid, he was the Neymar of his generation. Like people thought he was going to be the next R9. And like he did do well at Real Madrid, and that's why he went to Man City. That's why City went from at the end of the day. He was doing okay for Real Madrid. He wasn't like banging in the goals, but he had to learn. Have more time to learn off Ronaldo, really, because that was basically who he was trying to emulate. Because obviously that's what the Brazilian people wanted from Robinho to be that next Ronaldo. And then obviously City spell didn't work out for him. First season, I think it was. I'd say it was passable. Then second season, he fell off the cliff. It was near top goal scored his first season at City.
And then I think he went. I think he went to Milan after that, and he stayed there for quite a number of years. So I think that's probably where he could have maybe rescued his career.
Well,
yeah, and ultimately he's basically been a journeyman ever since. He's been in China, back to Brazil and Turkey since then. Really,
Istanbul, Başakşehir.
Yeah, he's still there now, and
I said that right.
You can't pronounce that name.
Well, I mean, you can.
It's hard to, anyway. But no, it's another one of Brazil's failed wonder kids, and there's plenty of them to go around.
Honestly, just to conclude,
Oscar,
Brazil.
He was more money-wise. He went from China for the money, didn't he?
Brazilians wonder kids. Well, yeah, they're the definition of a wonder kid. Like, even from birth, they're tutored to be the next Ronaldo, the next
Ronaldinho,
Eric
Pele.
Pele.
Eric Dyer, what are you about?
Wasn't he tipped to be class player? And he was
Eric Dyer?
Yeah, no, I'm talking about Eric Dyer. Wasn't he supposed to be like class as a class?
Oh yeah, that's the one. But
he was at Sporting Lisbon, wasn't he?
But yeah,
Was
it's
it?
just,
I think so. I think he was raised in Portugal.
He started at Everton, then he went to Lisbon.
Yeah, he went on to Everton, didn't he, for a bit? Yeah. Now that's I mean, I'm trying to think of any more. Maybe you could add to that list. I said Ryan Babel. He was because I remember when we signed him from.
Yeah, Walcott. That's a big one.
He did all right, to be fair. I know he's not great.
Nah, no one knew where he could play though, because obviously he wanted to play up front, but he wasn't good enough up front, was he?
Well,
Ahmed Musa.
No, he was never a wonder kid.
He
Anderson.
was.
Anderson's
I don't
a
think he
big
was.
one.
He was.
Anderson, yeah.
Anderson got Golden Boy when he was at Porto.
Ethan, look at this.
Anderson, yeah, from Man United.
Ethan.
No, fair play.
Kingy, why look at the Squawker website for
Squawker.
Mate,
the only reason he's on that list.
It's FIFA
Because he had
potential.
loads of pace.
yeah, he could have easily been.
Football's not all about pace, you know. I mean, actually, talking about pace, Adama Traore,
No, that's how much Traore's been
He's
good
on the
this
way
year.
up now, though.
he could have been better. He was a Barcelona's youth team.
Yeah, he's doing well now.
Barcelona's youth team's broken. That's a good podcast episode. We could talk about youth academies.
Oh yeah, who's got the? Nah, that's
Mate, Adama
Benzema.
Traore now under Nuno's developed.
I don't know. I think he could have been a lot better. His finishing still lets him down for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. But his finishing's got a lot better. But I admit it could be better. But he's been one of Wolves' best players this season.
I mean, yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I'm trying to think of any more. Andy Carroll for me maybe could
That's
be
a
another
big
one.
Yeah.
Brilliant at Newcastle.
John Flanagan.
He was never a youth prospect. went to Liverpool for that record fee, and
Jesse Lingard.
I think with Carroll, I don't think it wasn't bad for Liverpool, but it wasn't good enough for 35 million.
Fucking shit.
It wasn't shitty.
Jay Spearing.
Oh,
Pinhead. Me and my dad used to call him Pinhead when he played because he has the
David
weirdest
Lingard.
face ever.
David Lingard was either.
Like when he was in the youth academy, he's never really said, "Oh, he's going to be the next big player." He's always been like a sporadic player. That's why he was on loan.
Angel Gomez.
Angel Gomez still 19.
Jesse Lingard's a great youth player, still is to this day.
Yeah,
Oh,
20.
That young prospect at 28.
Lingardinho.
Absolutely rubbish.
So, is that probably going to be it for this episode?
Yeah.
I think
It's
that's
a bit shorter. I mean,
obviously there's not much else. I mean, we'll try and figure out something we will continue the content. Just to let you know, next week we're not on. So this will probably go out the week later, will it?
the week after, yeah.
This is going out
This week as well.
Yeah.
That's basically. Yeah, no, it is. It's taking to it this way.
So we're going to record next week?
We just won't be doing it, will we?
No. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. But I think
we can't be telling you this.
But I think next Friday we might not, but we'll figure something out anyway. But as I said, list down your top 3 or any other ones that you think should have been on the list, or what your list is, and obviously we do obviously look at your comments and reply back. Obviously, because we probably missed out quite a few. Like and subscribe to the channel if you're interested.
The podcast as well.
Share it, yeah.
Keep sharing. Keep it sharing.
And
keep
also
people coming to this podcast. We want more people. We want more people.
All right, George.
I don't know. I'm going with it.
You're not Boris Johnson. Jesus, what are you doing? Literally,
Thanks for that.
Literally, he's literally like, when he gets up and he puts his bloody gets his
Brexit
done. He gets his book on the fucking thing and he starts banging the table like that. It's like, what are you doing? But anyway,
just keep sharing is what I'm trying to say.
But yeah, obviously also put subjects that you'd like us to mention, because obviously we do plan as well, but we like to hear feedback of our viewers.
Soon. Brandon's coming back from
if he makes it back, I mean.
Hopefully, Brandon. Obviously, we. What the fuck, man?
I've done to him.
But obviously, we hope the football comes back on in a few weeks. Obviously, because otherwise we're going to be a bit stuck for content till maybe summer.
We've got the topic, topic ideas. I mean,
I know
we can't move on just then with the youth
I know,
academy.
but obviously it is a bit crap. Obviously, without football.
Although Lamazia has been struggling badly for prospect players.
For the next
what are you doing, man?
I'm just saying.
It's
a teaser.
But obviously, obviously, we hope the football season gets back on the road. Obviously, it's up to us, but hopefully, us football fans get to see some football before next summer, before this summer, longer in the summer. Sorry.
Yeah.
But so obviously we're going to end this podcast here. It's goodbye from Ethan.
Bye.
Goodbye from George.
Goodbye, everyone.
And it's goodbye from me, and I hope you enjoyed this podcast.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Good evening, everybody. A pleasure and a privilege, as always, to be at Anfield, where we are hoping for another miracle like Istanbul. Shaqiri, in his own half, rolls it square towards Matip. Mitchell van. Up to Mane, mistake, Mane into the area, great skill, Henderson's in the box, Henderson, saves the
City celebrating. The party really is just getting started. I've had to wait a very long time.